So yeah, the final step to this process really is to run through how we would do a self master. So this is just for essentially, playing out in clubs, sending to other producers for feedback, things like that. It's also quite a good exercise to go through yourself to see how your mix down will react to the processing a proper mastering engineer would kind of apply to your tune. So we're not mastering engineers, so we're not, essentially properly trained and qualified to master tracks. Like, you've got to go super in depth into this stuff, but just for a rough basis, we'll go through our own techniques and look at how we can essentially get our own master, which is pretty decent quality. So I think first things first, if we just loop up the drop, that's probably the best thing to do. So straight away, I'm going to start with the same EQ we've put on every single channel, just to be safe. And then what we'll do is probably apply some saturation. We'll go in with the newfangled audio saturation plugin here. We'll set auto gain on, and we'll keep soft clipping enabled. Obviously, if you really crank it, sounds awful, but we'll go for a couple of decibels. So that just adds quite a nice warmth to things, and it also does glue stuff together, believe it or not. And it's just a nice little technique to add a bit of drive to your track, which is sometimes what you need at that mastering stage. We'll then go in with a bit more soothe. And again, we can just have a flick through some of these mastering presets. Let's go for... Let's try this. Balance to the Grammy Awards. So just really subtle stuff at this point. If you don't want to do anything extreme, just kind of calm the whole thing down, really. That's sounding good. Then we'll load up just Pro C, and again, I mean, this is just presets basically. We'll just go for a really gentle mastering preset. Let's have a look what's going on here. Gentle wide mastering is usually a pretty nice one. We'll knock that threshold way back. We don't want any gain to be introduced at this point, so we'll just knock this off slightly. Again, really subtle, just really gently knocking off some peaks, but yeah, I mean, there's barely anything there, to be fair. Sweet. So bit of EQ, bit of saturation, going with soothe, some gentle compression, and last thing we want to do is just apply limiter. So it varies on what limiter we want to use, just depending on what we feel like. But this Smart Limit is a pretty decent plugin, and do get along with it well. And just the user interface is quite nice, and it kind of gives you a loudness check basically, to see how your tune might react on certain algorithms. So we'll set our limit to -0.7, You never really want to go close to 0 because it might clip. And then we'll gradually increase our gain until we kind of attenuate around 6 dB. And what I'm going to do is put a constant gain on here so I don't blow your ears off, but let's have a look. I forgot to say, this constant gain won't work. We won't be able to see how much it attenuates, so let's just turn that off. I'm going to turn down the monitoring here. No, I'm not. Let's turn the master down a bit. Otherwise it will destroy your ears. I'll set that back to 0 and quickly drop the level here. So yeah, when you start limiting stuff, you kind of hear some slight imbalances in the mix potentially. So I think the drums are getting a bit swallowed. So we'll just drop the levels of everything else down slightly, just to let those drums breathe. So I think that's sounding pretty good, to be honest. So what we'll do now is run through the whole track. We'll let it play. I won't talk, and we'll just have a listen to where we're at and just check any final things that might stick out that need fixing. But yeah, let's run it and have a listen. Sick. So yeah, that's sounding pretty good. So all we do now is just export this as a MP3 or whatever, and have a listen on some other systems, maybe play it out. But yeah, that's our process really. So hopefully you found that insightful and helpful, and hopefully a few things you've learned from this. I think our production style is pretty simple, but we've kind of honed it down over the years. We don't do anything too crazy, but it's just about working on your workflow. Don't want to say work twice, but you know what I mean. And really understanding what works for you as a producer, and ultimately that's really helpful because what works for you doesn't necessarily work for someone else. So yeah, it's a good exercise for us this to do. To be fair, to look at how we produce, and I think we are, as ourselves, we've learned something from this process too. So it's been a good exercise really. So yeah, I mean, we're more than happy to listen to any of your guys' tunes. So if you want to hit us up on our socials or whatever and send demos over, we'll always listen, always give feedback. We're very grateful from other producers in the scene that gave us feedback when we were starting out, and it's a great way to learn. So yeah, if you want to send anything over, yeah, feel free. We'll definitely have a listen. But yeah, apart from that, cheers for listening. I hope you found it worthwhile, and yeah, peace.